which campus is better, Hyderabad or Mohali? And my answer to this is so I hope you guys are ready for the cheat codes. So jokes apart, hello guys, this is Satyam Singh on the Asian Guy. So welcome back to the video. I've generally been very serious in front of the camera. I'm like the Mr. Doordarshan of YouTube. So that's self-roast 101. Anyways, so this video is gonna be a bit more different than my previous videos, be it my topic of INSEAD Business School for the MIM program or about VIT Vellore. This is gonna be more of a impromptu video where I say what I want to and try to be as less of Doordarshan as possible, because I know people don't watch Doordarshan and so are they not watching my videos. So yes, welcome back guys. This video is going to be more about some of the tips for people who are applying to the Indian School of Business for the YLP program. I'm going to cover each round and basically share details about the things that I did right and things I feel I could have improved further. And I think this will help you get a better picture of the whole process. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share what are learning weekends and how fantastic and amazing of an opportunity is learning weekend in terms of networking between the peers in the alumni group and even getting a touch and feel of what Indian School of Business would feel like 2, 3 years or 4 years down the line. So for the people who don't know what YLP is, so for the uninitiated, Indian School of Business has a Deferred MBA program. This is the only Deferred MBA program in India currently. So a Deferred MBA program gives you an admit right out of your undergraduate to a prestigious MBA, which you can pursue after deferring from a period of 20 months to up to 3 or 4 years. But then as and when you increase your deferrals, you need to have a very solid reason of deferring. So the ideal scenario is ISB expects you to be back after 20 months of work experience. So yes, I think that's enough about YLP. Let's get started with the video. So what do you think has got me to ISB? Okay, so that's something I'm wondering as well. So yes, I think some of the key things required to get into Indian School of Business would be first a good recommender, a good profile. And a good profile is going to help you, and good set of experiences is going to help you write a good essay, good resume, help you introspect better so that you come out as a much more like a personality with depth. You've done experiences that make sense to you, that have a deeper purpose and a bigger purpose in play. It's not just for the sake of a certificate or the sake of it shouldn't be of ornamental value on your resume, but it should rather have that depth and understanding. I think that is what the admission committees and as well as the alumni expect during the interviews as well as in the essays. So in the very first round, I think the first round is a fairly easier round to crack. It's just an essay. So they just expect you to be a bit more introspective. Understand what you stand for. Just let your emotions and creative juices flow out in the essay. And my suggestion is please get it proofread. You do not want to get a grammatical error in front of the admissions committees, because when they're reading thousands of essays, I'm sure they will not write someone who's grammatically not sound. That shows that you haven't worked hard on your essays. That would be my baseline. Yes, we don't expect grammatical errors at all. Your essay does not need to use GRE or GMAT vocabulary. So yes, that's also something I wanted to convey in this video. Other than that, coming on to the resume, my tips are very similar to the tips that I mentioned for INSEAD Masters in Management program. Try to be as succinct as possible in your resume, and the admission committees do not expect a 3 or a 4 pager of a resume. Let me be very honest, we still as undergrads do not have itna work experience ki we write 4 pages of a resume, because many of times I've seen my seniors having 3 or 4 pages of resume, and I think that's not healthy. That's advice to my seniors. Okay, no, I don't want to sound cocky here, but yes, I think you should have 1-page resume where you should highlight your key achievements. You should try to quantify your achievements. For example, you worked in a NGO, and then for example you grew their PR page, for example Instagram page, from 1,000 to 4,000 followers. That's like 3,000, that's 300% growth. Something like that. You can quantify stuff. You can that shows that you've created an impact. What matters through the resume is not the number of experiences, and either the number of years you spent in an organization, but what impact you created and how good were you in that organization. Did you get like a leadership role in that? For example, in one of my NGOs, I started as a core member and then I ended up getting a board position. That shows that you have some sort of grit and determination for a organization. You believe in their purpose and you're more aligned towards it. So I think that is important. Other than that, another important thing is whatever you do in your resume should like have a purpose, have a bigger purpose. For example, there should be dots connecting to each other. You can't be a Formula 1 enthusiast and then suddenly transform into something else. It shouldn't appear as if you were confused throughout your undergraduate, what you wanted to pursue, what was your main or deeper purpose. So that is something you don't want to do in your admission applications. So make sure your essays, your resume, your interviews speak the same like purpose and the same I would say meaning that you want to convey. It shouldn't be running in different directions, as this shows that you're not very like your personality does not have the depth and you do not have that level of introspection to understand and make use of a good premier business school education. So I think this snippet is almost 4 minutes now. So let's try to cut it down here, and some more tips coming in the next segment. So in this segment, I'm gonna share about the different rounds, and I would just rate their difficulties according to what I felt it was. So the very first round is just an essay round. I would say this is, if I were to rate it between easy, medium and hard, I would call it easy, because of the experiences I've had in college. Introspection was something I was really good at, and like having prior experience of applying to business schools abroad, like in INSEAD, I even applied to Yale SOM for the Silver Scholars program. I kind of knew what ingredients went into a good essay, so I was a bit more experienced on that front. So I found this round to be easy. Although for someone who comes from a technical background, someone like an engineer who is not used to writing a creative piece very frequently, I think this is going to be of medium difficulty for you. Now coming to the second round. In the second round, it is expected that you submit one letter of recommendation, you submit your GRE score, and then you submit one more essay. So this round is a bit more complex. Definitely the difficulty level increases because you're expected to have a good GRE score, you're expected to have a strong resume, you're expected to again write a very good essay that makes sense, that kind of want the admissions committee to like take you and make you a part of the next class of Indian School of Business MBA grads. So yes, I think this is a fairly more difficult round. I would rate it I would rate it to be the most difficult round. At least for me, it was something that required a lot of efforts because I had to reach out to a recommender. It was already like I was pursuing my internship at that time. I had already left college for the last 1 year. So reaching out to a recommender, someone had knocked on the doors like 6 months back when he was applying to other B schools. So I felt that is where it required a lot of efforts, and I think it was all worth it. It was definitely all worth it. So yes, the second round would be of medium difficulty, and then the final round is basically an interview. This interview is hosted by the alumni, and you have the adcoms sneaking from the right hand corner of the Google Meet or the Teams Meet, however it was organized. And yes, they observe you all the while. Two alumni take your interviews. So I think this round is, again, I found it not very difficult, because the thing here is what the alumni expect you to be very honest. They expect to make a good conversation, a good constructive conversation, and that's how they evaluate you. They see how good of a fit you are in college. And adding on to that, there are some fixed boilerplate questions that they'll ask: long-term goal, short-term goal, and then there'll be some profile-related questions that they'll ask. For example, when I mentioned that I got into INSEAD for their Masters in Management program, their question was like, why did you not go and pursue that or did an MS, and why did you decide to stay back in India? So they do ask some deep-rooted questions on your profile, because you do send them your resume way ahead of the interview. And them being ISB alums, you expect them to be of that standard. So yes, I think again that was of medium difficulty. So overall, I would say the process is fun, but the the worst part of the whole thing is it takes 9 to 10 months, and the whole wait period is something that's really frustrating, tiring, and also kind of disappointing. So like you just write one essay and then you have to wait for 2 months to get a thing. You feel like you're preparing for civil services examination and you'll have to wait for 10 months to get your admit. So yes, because unlike other B schools, like if you like, I've applied for some North American B schools as well. Generally the admission cycles are like a month or two until you hear for the interview, and in the next 15-20 days to a month you get your final admit or you get a rejection. So I think that's something ISB should work on. The overall turnaround time for appearing for the interviews and getting the whole stuff done, right? Because 10 months is a lot of time. It does take an emotional toll on you as well, because for example, ISB was the best alternative available to me. I was very sure I did not want to pursue CAT and go into the IIMs, because that I did not want to give such a big time commitment for preparing to the CATs. It did not make sense to me. So yes, ISB was the best option that I had, and since I had pushed other good B schools outside the door, this was my only option. So it did get me worried at times that whether I'm going to make it or not, but for the good or the bad I did. And then now it's been 2 learning weekends. I'm 2 learnings weekend old at ISB and its culture. So yes, I think this segment is over now. It's been again 5 minutes, so let's head on to the next segment. Let me talk about the learning weekends in this part of the video. So like just to brief you guys, what are learning weekends? Learning weekends are generally, like as the name suggests, learning weekend. So yeah, it does happen on weekends. So like you're called into amazing properties in Hyderabad as well as the other campus, Chandigarh, Mohali. So I think that's where you're called, and then you get a chance to do a lot of peer-to-peer learning, networking. You get to meet alumni. These alumni are like 2 years old to up to like 2006 2007 batch. That's how long alumni are in touch with Indian School of Business and like actively like contributing in the community. I think that's beautiful. That's one thing. Other than that, I think it gives you a good feel of what Indian School of Business would feel like a few years down the line. So yes, learning weekends is that. Other than that, I may share a few glimpses of the learning weekend and how much of fun we had, and especially the parties. Learning weekends are networking, learning, and parties. So yes, you'll definitely have fun. ISB is a great place to network, great place to learn, great place to explore a new career, new friends, because like the diversity is something that'll just blow your mind instantly. So for example, when I went for my first learning weekend to Hyderabad, I was sharing a cab with one of the lawyers from NLU Lucknow, if I'm not wrong, and that's like a very reputed NLU, and he had a major role in one of the major mergers that was happening that time. So yeah, I'll zip it on till there, because I'm not allowed to reveal any more details, nor did he. So yes, yes. So that being said, I think ISB is a great college. One great thing that happened to me after the interview was done, a week later, one of the alumni who was in the panel actually reached out to me, and then we had a word. We had a few rounds of discussions, and then he kind of called me in his company. So that's how I made the switch from Flipkart to Schindler. That's again a very amazing story, and for all like clarity, this was something that was done after the interview, so it was totally ethically executed. Although that showed me the power of networking, and that showed like what value a network at ISB brings. I think that's the biggest takeaway for anyone who's attending ISB. It's the network. And I think you can even, like for learning, you have so many online websites, you have so many different sources. Maybe the professors are good, you will get a chance to learn from them directly. Attending an in-class session is very much better than an online session that you do maybe on Coursera or something like that. But then yes, the network is, I think, the topmost priority for anyone who's attending B school. So please take it seriously. Other than that, I feel like I think this gives a good brief of what ISB is all about. I hope I have tried to establish a structure in this video, and I've not haphazardly just talking on random things. So I hope you found this video helpful. In case you need any more help or any more guidance, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. So I've gotten actually a lot of DMs lately. I am trying to reply to all of them, and in true honesty, I couldn't reply to all of them, but yes, I do reply to like most of them. So please reach out to me on LinkedIn. We'll have a discussion. We'll have a constructive discussion. And till that time, stay tuned. Keep watching The Asian Guy. One of the hottest topics on campus. Which campus is better, Hyderabad or Mohali? And my answer to this is, I don't know. So I think none of the campus, I think both of the campuses have their pros and cons, and that is something you do not have an active role in choosing. So what happens is you have to fill in your variety. For example, if you choose Hyderabad, you fill it as number 1, and then Mohali is number 2, or you even have an option of give me anything, I don't care. So yes, that's also an option available. And I think both of the campuses have their own advantages. Mohali is more newer campus, so I feel it's more state of the art kind of campus. It's very cool. It's very modern. I enjoy the overall vibe of the campus. And Hyderabad, although is kind of old, it's not as modern and as it as new and as feels as fresh as Mohali. That's one thing. Other than that, Hyderabad shares shares borders with Microsoft offices. All that doesn't matter. You don't need to jump fences in your MBA. So yes, that doesn't matter. But yes, it's situated in the business center. Although in Mohali, I'm not sure whether it's that big of a business center or not. I think that's one thing. Although that is not going to make a difference, because even though we are two campuses, we operate on 2 campus, 1 college model. So basically, even for placements, it's either held in Hyderabad or it's either held in Mohali. So definitely no effects on placements. And unlike engineering colleges, it's not that Mohali is not as good as Hyderabad or Hyderabad is better than Mohali or vice versa. Other than that, one more advantage that I see to Mohali is that it has a smaller batch size in comparison to Hyderabad. So the folks at Mohali tend to, at least what the seniors say or what the alumni have to say, is that the bonding is a bit more tight and close at Mohali because of the number of students. And I think, yeah, that's definitely a function of the number of students that are there. You definitely can't network with 600, 700 odd students. You can't remember those many names, and you can't develop deep, meaningful bonds. You may be able to touch base these 700 people in 1 year, but then they won't remember your name, neither will you, right? So I think what matters is having good, deep-rooted network. Just knowing the name would not matter, right? So I think this brings us to the end of the video. I hope you found this useful. See ya. Funny thing, so the very first topic I mentioned in the start of the video is something that I forgot to cover. So coming back to it, let me talk about the things that I did right and things I feel I could have done better. So I think my interview was the highlight of all the 3 rounds. I think my interview went really nice. It was a very genuine interaction between the alumni and me. I mean, they tried to get that conversation going, and that really helped. It wasn't supposed to be like a grill all this thing, I'm not like a party that they grill, so it wasn't like that. It was more of a genuine discussion where we just opened up. It helped me open up. They were very open to my answers, and the questions were kind of not what I had expected, but they were very deep rooted on my resume, and there were some boilerplate questions, but mostly they were very deep rooted on my purpose in life, my resume, the experience I've done. So I think somewhere or other that really helped me connect with the alumni, and that kind of helped me break the deal. So yes, simply put. Other than that, I think I could have done a better job with the essay. I think the very first round, it was something that I did in a hurry because at that time I was applying to other colleges as well for the Deferred MBA, and at that time my work at Flipkart was at its peak. I was very much involved. I was almost working 12 hours a day or even more sometimes, so that was average. So it was something tough to manage. So I was very close to the deadline. I had to rush up with the essay. I felt it wasn't as deep rooted and as thoughtful as it could have been. That is, I think, an improvement point. Other than that, I feel the other aspects were done pretty well, and I think that's the reason I got in. So yes, and any other tips and suggestions for someone who is applying would be honest, be genuine. Don't try to I think one big mistake that people do is they think they're not hurting anyone's sentiments or emotions. They think that what they do or what they write is very unique. So that's not the case. I think it's really important you be honest and don't. You need to speak what you stand for and not what they want to listen. And if you just follow this advice, I think you'll be able to. If you just keep this in your head and may write your essays, your resumes, or even your interviews, I think it's gonna take you a long way. It's something that's definitely gonna get you into ISB and even like give you a good career after ISB. So I think my Gyan session ends here. I hope you guys have found this useful, and this is the third time I'm gonna say bye. But yes, bye. This is what happens when you make an impromptu video for the very first time. So please bear with me, guys. Thank you, and until next time.